Hey, what's up, guys? Here on the Fire Sports Pod, where everything we got is hot. I'm your host, Zach Jackson, here with our co-host, Irv. Right back at you again. I told you guys he was going to come back. It happened to be on Season 6, Episode number 1. We are powered by StreamYard, where StreamYard makes the dream yard go. And let's get right into the packed show I have for you guys. It is currently 9:27 p.m. on December 2nd, this Monday. Let's get right into it. We got on Recap Monday. Got a sad sight as we could see this. As a Buckeyes fan, this is what you don't want to see at the end of the regular season, as Michigan was able to get the ups on Ohio State 13-10. Ohio State was favored by 20.5 this game, and they only scored 10 points. The defense of the Buckeyes played amazing. Just the Ohio State's offense looked shit, like completely like shit. If you look at Will Howard, 19 of 33, 175 yards, 2 interceptions, and a touchdown. Davis Warren, 9 of 16, 62, and 2 interceptions. We gave up a lot of yardage on the ground. That was our problem. Whoever really controlled the line of scrimmage was going to win that game. And yet again, for the second straight year, we have Blake Corum last year, and we have Kalal Mullings this year, 32 carries for 116 yards and a touchdown. Our running game was again non-existent like last year. Quinton Jenkins, 12 carries, for 46 yards. Our wide receivers did absolutely nothing. We didn't attack the outside leverage on their cornerbacks, which was their weakness. We just kept running the ball and doing some thinking dunts all over the field. So yeah, in general, guys, I think Ryan Day, the question should be, is he on the hot seat? But maybe not, but the angst will only grow as Ohio State's pricey roster falls flat. Now, again, we'll see if the rankings next tomorrow show that if Ohio State makes it in the playoffs. I don't think because of them losing to Michigan, they would jump out of the 12 playoff bracket. I think they would probably drop down to number 7 or 8 in my book, so that probably eliminates them with a home playoff having a home playoff game, or having a bye, I should say. They're definitely not getting the bye. Do I think Ohio State's in trouble? No. I think they just can't beat Michigan. I think Ryan Day folds against Michigan, folds against big-time games, and this is called the game. They wait till the last game of the season for a reason for this game. And it was just a bad way to go out. You definitely want to go out going into the Big Ten championship game. It would have been yourself and Oregon, payback from the first couple weeks loss against Oregon, where you lost because, again, of a Ryan Day miscue and a Will Howard miscue. Instead of running down and kneeling, running down and putting your body on the floor quicker, and then you let the time run out, wasn't able to kick the field goal for the win against Oregon. But now you got your arch rivals, Penn State, in Ohio State position versus Oregon. So we'll see what happens. Oregon's had a great year. Penn State's had an okay year. I don't think they're good.
Yeah, Oregon has a great year defensively as well.
Yeah, their defense is really good. Their offense is good as well. Their coach is a little bit of a nut, but they get the job done. They're 12-0. But yeah, before I give it over to Irv, I think Ryan Day should be on the hot seat because of just the fact that he keeps losing to Michigan. Do I think he should be fired? No. But will his hot seat expedite if he gets bounced in the first round of the playoffs in college football? Most definitely. If they make a deep run and if, let's say, they win the national championship, this game ain't going to be nothing because you brought a national championship back to Ohio State, which they haven't been there or won it since 2016, which was, I believe, or 2015, which I believe was Zeke Elliott's last year in college football with the Buckeyes, where I think they beat Oregon. So we'll see. But I think the way Ryan Day saves his job, if he makes a deep playoff run with the Buckeyes, and if he wins a natty, I don't think there's any conversation he's coming back next year. But I'll let Irv take it from here. Irvin, what's your take on the Ohio State Michigan game? Were you surprised? And What do you think about Ryan Day? Should he be scrutinized for this another loss, or if a deep playoff run, like I said, will save the day for him?
I mean, yeah, that performance by Ohio State. I mean, it was not really that well, especially defensively. I mean, when in terms of just passing, they were covering that up. Only allowing the quarterback to throw 62 yards, only two
Yeah, no.
with two interceptions as well. But it's just a ground game. Like the ground game was not it. I think it has something to do with probably the defensive line and probably the linebackers. I just think Ohio is definitely they were out they were outran in this game. You know what I mean? So and of course Ryan Day did have some questionable decision making. So did the quarterback Will Howard. Um, for them to lose like that, I mean that's college football for you. I know this rivalry has been brewing for so long, and I feel like this year especially, you know, I mean Ryan Day he's just been good. I don't think necessarily his job is on the hot seat only because he keeps losing to Michigan, but you have to also see that the Buckeyes are still 10-2, and before that they were 10-1. So, do I really think his job is on the hot seat? Not really. Do I think he'll get in the hot seat if he gets exit first round? Definitely, there's going to be conversations, but I don't really think his job would be at stake because again, he is probably one of the most, I guess, winning head
Winning is
coaches.
winning his coaches.
Yeah, in college football, having I think around I mean since when? Since not
I think
2019.
I think he's 47-1 against anybody else. So I think that would mean he's 48-5 overall.
I mean, maybe if you could probably just look that up,
I'm gonna look
maybe.
that up right now.
Yeah.
Uh, he is. Shit. Um, yeah. Why I figured this out? Just keeping
Yeah, so no, just basically, but he's very successful as a coach. I think he wins probably like 80%, maybe 85% of his games while coaching since 2019. So, honestly, I don't necessarily think it will be in the hot seat. I mean, although you also have to consider the fact that he's out of out of all like the big time schools, he's around like think 3-6, if I'm not mistaken, against big time schools. Um, so I mean, I don't know. It could go either way. Definitely, conversation is going to start spiking up for Ryan Day to explain himself or take at least accountability for not executing and winning a national title with Ohio State. I mean, Ohio State has been a great team, being under him, and they just couldn't get reach the gold. So I don't know, but I really don't think his job is at stake. I just think
So
that
he's 66-10,
duh, there you have it.
but
66-10,
four of his losses are to one team.
which is Michigan State, and I mean not
Again,
Michigan State, the Michigan.
yep.
So, I mean, I'm just saying for me personally, it's football, and at the end of the day, when the pressure hits you, you have to learn how to deal with that pressure. And I feel like every time he goes up against probably the biggest rivalry, probably in college football,
So yeah,
I,
base,
yeah,
basically they in his first year they went 13-1. His second year they went 7-1. That was the COVID year.
yeah,
Third year 11-2. Fourth year 11-2. Fifth year 11-2. Sixth year 10-2. Total 66-10. In his conference, he's 46-5. So he lost to Oregon and he lost to Michigan this year. 2023 lost to Michigan. 2022, he lost to Michigan. 2021, he lost to Michigan. That's the in-conference.
Yeah.
Which is his conference, which is Michigan. So that means the he had 2 losses in 2023, 2022, and 2021. So that means another one of those losses are out of conference. So that just shows you. So he lost, I think the last 3 years, 2021, 2022, 2023, they lost to like a shitbag team, and then they lost to Michigan, which killed them. And the same goes here. They lost to the number 1 team in the country in Oregon by 1, and then they lost in a shitbag game against Michigan by 3. But
But
he's
you
46-5 overall in conference play.
But you see, like, and these are not blowout wins, by the way. That like Oregon or Michigan is like beating him. They're beating them by 1 point, a field goal. So, I mean, I just think this is he's just failing to execute and push his team to break that limit because like again, 4 consecutive years he's losing to Michigan every single time. So I mean, I don't know. That's why I personally think his job is not going to be at stake because he is very successful as a coach. He just needs to break that limit that he has on himself in terms of going up against the big time schools. That's what I think.
I get you. I just don't like the game plan. It felt like the game plan for Ohio State was to not lose the game, not going out to win the game. Let's try not to lose the game. I felt like I watched almost the entire game. I felt like that was the thing the entire time. It's 3rd down and 7 inside our 10 or inside the 15, and we're running the ball.
There's just like I said, there's just some decision making
No, but
that
Chip Kelly is the offensive coordinator. I'm sorry, that guy sucks.
yeah.
I don't like him. He's trying not to lose the game. You're pulling Will Howard back.
So then can you fully blame Day then?
No. I'm saying I'm blaming Day and the staff. Other people just blaming Day. I think it has a combination of the head coach and Chip Kelly, but at the time, same thing. Doesn't the head coach have the all say, all go? Doesn't he say, hey, this is what we're running? I like what you're saying, Chip, but I like this one. Or let's run that same play, but let's have another gadget to combat that. Like some bullshit. Like some different. He's the one that says what's actually going to happen. It's not like, Chip Kelly, yeah, what are we doing here? Because I don't know what we're doing. Like, it's not that. It's like, yeah, Chip, I hear you, but we're going with this. It's like he's the assistant. That's why the offensive coordinator. He's an assistant coach, but he's the offensive coordinator. He goes and tells the head coach, hey, this is what I'm looking at. Are we in the same page? Blah, 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 blah. So I think it has a combination of both. So I can't put all the blame on Ryan Day, but ultimately he's the head coach. Ultimately, that's his staff. Ultimately, that's his offensive coordinator. And ultimately, for the 4th ultimate, now 5th, it's ultimately his team. So he has to say. He says, we're going with this. Nah, we're not. So it's like you could put the blame on Chip, but you got to put the blame on Ryan. Both of them are on the same staff. Just got a problem. The defense don't got a problem. The defense played out of their mind when they were throwing the ball. But, dude, how would you expect the team to play if, I mean, they're hyped up, they're stopping this, they're stopping that, and then, like, my offense goes out there for 35 seconds. I just stopped Michigan, and you're going to go out there for 35 seconds.
Yeah.
That doesn't do nothing for me. That kills me. That F's me over because I'm doing all this to help out the offense, and you guys are not moving the damn ball. Like, that shows that's like the Cowboys. Like, the Cowboys defense, right? We get a big stop. Dak or Cooper Rush comes in, 3 and out. That doesn't help. Or we get a turnover, and we go 3 and out.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't work for me. And that's where that 10-2 record should be 11-1. We should be going to the Big Ten this weekend, going to play Oregon for the rematch. We take them down. We're fucking 12-1. We go into the playoffs with the number 1 seed. and we get the bye. That's how it should have panned out, because every other week we killed Indiana. They weren't even nothing. That was the previous week. We demolished Indiana.
Right.
And then we play against Michigan and we do this shit.
Yeah.
13-10. We were 20.5 favorites. And we only scored 10 points. I mean, look at the stat. We were up 3-0 end of the first. They scored 10 points in the second half. In the second quarter, we scored 7. 10-7. 10-10 at halftime. Dude, they scored 3 points. Michigan scored 3 points the whole second half. So that wasn't on the defense. That was just the defense being tired. That was on Will Howard.
Yeah, I mean, for the defense to hold Michigan to only 3 points.
I'm not saying Michigan's offense is crazy, but I mean, look what we did against Indiana. Look what we did against Penn
State. They're not really that good if you have their star quarterback QB1 throwing only 62 yards with 2 interceptions.
I know, exactly, but look at the little resume we just did. We played Oregon, played them tough. We played Indiana.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Held them down to like 17 points. They scored a garbage touchdown. Penn State, same thing. Like, there has been a lot of games that we played against good offenses, not good defenses, good offenses, and we held them down. Michigan's not even close. Not even close.
I mean, let me remind you, prior to this matchup, they were 6-5. They're not even ranked.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's got to be like a now it's got to be like a oh shit. Like we're not as good as we thought we were. So that's what I think. And then I didn't like at the end. I get it. The flag, they're gonna try to do it on on Ohio State's midline, on the center of the O. I get it, but there's no need, none. It was a great, hard fought, old style football game, low scoring. It was like back in the 90s between these two teams. There was no need for both teams to go out there, start punching, start ripping. There was no need for
I don't think you understand, because I was also having this discussion earlier. This is bragging rights, and with bragging rights, it's gonna happen. You have, if you're going into a 10-1 team who happens to be your rival, who you have the upper hand for the past 4 years, and you're the one with the worst record, barely positive, 6-5, and you come in there, you had a terrible game, you had a bad game, your running back carried you, the defense carried as well. Like, I'm sorry, but that's pure.
No. I don't think you understand. I'm saying that Ohio State was at fault. We got to learn how to lose.
But what I'm saying is that it shouldn't have not happened. But at the same time,
I think it's just an embarrassment for both
because
programs.
it was disrespectful. It was disrespectful because you're going into your rival school and you beat them, the number 2.
That's all you got. That's all the talking you need is you beat them at 7.
But then a player's pride comes into play. You're the number 2 seed, and you're losing to a team that's not even ranked, who happens to be your rivals. Of course you're gonna feel butthurt. Of course you're gonna feel that type of way. Was it disrespectful? Yes. Should it have happened? It should have not happened. But was it really gonna happen? Yes, because it's bragging rights. It
happened all around college football. It happened with the Texas A&M game. It happened with the Florida game. It happened with a bunch of games. Fights all over I watched every other fucking game. There was a fucking fist fight going on every fucking time. So I get it. But for me, as professional athletes, as you're growing up into the thing, I get it. There's fights in the NBA. But I never understand why. You guys are playing the game that you love for your career. And you have the audacity to go out and start fighting and complaining that your life is this and your life is that. Meanwhile,
That's a competitor's mindset,
no,
dude.
no, but I'm cool with it. Like, I'm cool with it. Like,
Uh-huh.
I understand it. I just think it's not good for the look of the sport, as you have the two top franchises or colleges, I should say, in the world, Michigan, Ohio State. You think about college football, what do you really think about? Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, Notre Dame, Georgia, like all Texas, all the top big schools. These are two of the top big schools. Yes, this year Michigan wasn't there. Ohio State was. But no matter what, as we know, no matter if it's the Cowboys versus the Giants, it's going to be a hard fought battle, no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
Panthers versus the Buccaneers, division rival. The Panthers had no shot or no business being in that game, and they
Nah, but
almost beat them, and they
Bryce
should have
Bryce
beat them.
Young was balling, almost threw 300
Exactly.
yards.
So
He was
it don't
balling.
matter. All I'm saying is I think it's just a bad look for college football and for the
Mhm.
sport because, yes, Michigan at fault. Was it disrespectful? Yes. Ohio State at fault for retaliating? Yes. But like you said, what'd you expect? It's Michigan, Ohio State. They don't even call themselves their names. They call it the game. They don't call it
Yeah.
Michigan, Ohio State. They call it the game for the reason. So I don't get it. Now, where was this fight last year when we got our ass kicked against Michigan in Michigan? Where was that? There was nothing. So that's what I'm saying. If you're going to do what you're going to do, right? Ohio State's going to react the way they're going to react. Where was that fight last year? Or the year before that? Or the year before that? You know what I mean? Now they're pissed off that they lost again.
Right.
But like it's 4 years in a row. Like
Mhm.
do something about it. Don't like the great quote that most NBA, no, most players, let your game do the talking. You
Right.
have to be using this and start punching people and start talking. Let your game do the talking because ultimately that's the biggest trash talk is when you can sit there and I could do whatever. And Irv, you could sit there and not say a word because what you're doing on the basketball court, on the football field, on
Backing
the
it up.
hockey, on the ice is backing up everything. You don't have to say a word because what I'm doing expedites whatever you're saying because then you're just talking for no reason and I'm just balling. And that's where I wish Michigan would have been like, all right, we've got them 4 straight. That's all the bragging rights that you got there. You don't need to put a flag on your thing. They didn't do
Right.
that the first year they won. Like, that's where it's like, all right, and then I can put my way to Ohio State and be like, well, then I can understand because if I was out there, I would have punched one of them in the face because I understand that side of things. But at the same time, Michigan's got to have some fault. There's no reason. You already have all the bragging rights in the world. You've beat them 4 straight years. For the first 3 years, you've bounced them out of the playoffs. Oh, I think
Yeah.
2 out of the 3 years you bounced them out of the playoff. This year, because of the 12-team playoff, you're going to keep them in. But still, that could be a twister. They don't play till like December 16th or something. So there's a long time before they play. So
Yeah.
that could be a twister. This loss could be the downfall. So you never know. Like I said, all I'm saying, Irv, so we can move on to our next one, is that this game was great in so many ways. And if for it to end the way it did, with officers getting hurt, with pepper spray had to be sprayed, with people getting punched in the face, the flag man, the flag dude that carries the flag for Michigan, doesn't play, doesn't do nothing, wasn't putting it. He was just trying to move it out there. Ohio State player grabs it, chucks him, pushes him on the floor. Like there was no need.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that clip. I was
I
like,
was like,
is
bro,
this
what are
guy
we
crazy? I was
doing?
like, is this guy crazy? Is he trying to start a fight? And no, he was just getting the flag.
No class from Ohio State and no class from Michigan. I understand with Khalil Mullings, the running back from Michigan. He's like, it was classless on their part. Yes, it was, but it was also classless on your part, dude. You've already have all the bragging rights in the world, winning them 4 straight years. 2 out of those 4 years bounced them out of the playoffs. You've already have all the bragging rights you need. Why do we
Yeah.
got to put a flag on the middle of the field and think we're not going to do nothing? You know what I mean? That's where I think people don't realize the disconnect. it's there's always there's always two sides to every story. There's this
Right.
there's there his side, there's the other side, and then there's the truth. Well, the truth says, well, both teams were in the wrong. One,
Mm-hmm.
two, it should have never ended the way it did, and three, it was both classless by both teams.
Right.
So I'll let you get the final word into this segment, and then we'll move on to our next one.
Um, I mean, just to say some final words, it was classes by both teams, but Michigan should have never started that in the first place. I feel like if they were professionals and all that stuff, but at the same time, they're kids. You know what I mean?
Exactly, they're still
They're
kids.
they're they're kids.
We're
They're
actually
not.
older than they are, which is kind
Yeah,
of
we're not. They're not like at the professional level right now. They're at the level where, oh, it's a rivalry game. Oh, look, we just beat our rivals, who are the number one, who are the second seed, and on top of that, they were 10-1, and we just gave them their second L for the fourth straight year we've beaten them. So again, it's just bragging rights. Michigan just had it in their heads, and then Ohio State had no other choice but to defend themselves, to retaliate. Because when somebody comes into your house and does that to you in front of your fans, in front of your people, you have to retaliate. You have to show them that you know, you have, your pride left.
yeah.
So I mean, although the situation got severely out of hand because a lot of people got hurt, like you said, officers, the flag boy got hurt, everyone got hurt. But you also have to understand, Michigan started it, and Ohio
That's
State
on them.
just finished it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. All right. So we got in a lot of talking about Michigan and Ohio State game. Again, I think it was just on the part of Ryan Day, Chip Kelly.
Mm.
Just were not ready. Got out coached. They got outplayed. They got out physical. It was an all around. They just got outplayed.
Yeah.
On all facets of the football field, other than really the defense. The defense lacked it up with the run game, but they did force multiple turnovers. So I really can't be too bummed about them. So I would say everything on the offensive end, they just got out coached and outplayed. It was kind of embarrassing to watch. It just looked like we were trying to lose. We were trying not to lose the game. We weren't trying to win the game. We were trying not to lose the game. And if you go into any game, any sport, or even life, trying not to do something instead of just going out and giving the risk and going out and giving your all, you're never gonna do shit. So we didn't do shit, and that's what happens. Now for our second segment, as we move on at the 28 mark, we're gonna go into some thoughts about Kirk Cousins and the Falcons. So Kirk Cousins and the Falcons are not looking so hot. They have dropped to 6-6 on the season after Kirk throws 4 interceptions yesterday in a loss. So it really did not look good for Kirk and Atlanta. They lost to the Chargers 17-13. Again, he threw 4 interceptions. Now, is it time for the Falcons to change the guard? And yes, they paid this man over 150 million for 4 years. But is it ready to give Michael Penix Jr. a shot? The guy that everyone clowned the Falcons for getting in the first round, I believe, with the 8th pick, which, to be honest, I think was a stupid move, but will pay off this year. Do you see Michael Penix making a starting a game this year for the Falcons? Irv, what is your take on that? And I'll go after.
I think Michael Penix Jr. I mean, he was pretty good in college. Um, when they picked him up in the first round, it was okay. But then all of a sudden, notification, boom, Kirk Cousins, 4 years, 180 million, I think it was, right?
Yeah.
4 years, 180 million with about maybe 70, 80 guaranteed. I'm not too sure.
Well, it was 100 guaranteed.
Point is, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And for 4 years, when they just signed a future franchise quarterback who has not seen the football field. Now, do I think that they should start him? Right now, no. Why do I say that? Because Kirk Cousins, I mean, it's just a slump. Four interceptions, I mean, every QB has a bad game, and realistically, Kirk Cousins has been in situations like that many times, which he has came back to prove others wrong. So, do I think it's that they should start by being 6-6 right now? No, I don't really think so. I think obviously, Kirk Cousins throwing four interceptions obviously caused some chatter and saying, "Oh, look, Kirk Cousins is doing bad, and we should start the rookie quarterback that was really good in college that we drafted in the first round." But I feel like if this slump continues and they end up being, you know, for the next month, maybe if they lose maybe two more games and it doesn't seem like playoff is, you know, a possibility,
Yeah.
then they should give that the young maybe they should give him um Michael Penix a shot 100% because he just needs to get his feet wet. I personally think that him getting his feet wet is just what they need. I mean, if you look at the schedule, they're versing the Vikings, then the Raiders, and then the Giants, and then the Commanders and the Panthers. So I think Kirk Cousins will do great with those first three teams. Commanders is going to be a little iffy, but then they verse the Panthers right after. I definitely think Kirk Cousins could still play. I mean, the Chargers defense is amazing. Very, very good defense, especially the safeties and cornerbacks as well. Like, they're just overall just a really good defense. So I just think it was a slump. I just think it was, a good quarterback going up against a better defense. And I don't think this should raise any alarms, in my opinion.
Okay. Um, I would say I would like. It would be nice to see the kid. Like I said, if they drop the Vikings game, which to be honest, I'm picking the Vikings over the Falcons. I'm in picks this weekend coming up. And if they lose to the Raiders, and then they lose to the Giants, or no, they beat the
Yeah.
Giants and then lose to the Commanders, I think you see Michael Penix against the Panthers because they're 6-6. That would make them 6-7. That would make them 6-8, then 7-8, then 7-9, and then they would be 8-10 if they beat the Panthers. Let me look at their standings
I
and
mean,
see.
yeah, that division is not really that good right now. I think the Bucks are ahead with the same exact.
Yeah, the
Oh
Bucks
no.
are tied 6-6.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
they
they're tied
could
six to
they
six.
could make it again. That's how the playoffs stand and the wild card, and see if
Mm-hmm.
they could make it. But it might. If you look at the NFC, you got the Lions at 11-1, you got the Vikings at 10-2, you got the Packers at 9-3, and if the Bears just had some good luck, they could be 8-5 as well, or 8-4. Then you have the Seahawks at 7-5, 6-6, 6-6, 5-7, and then the Eagles are 10-2. The Commanders are 8-5, and then Dallas is at 5-7. So I mean, the NFC is pretty stacked. I mean, if you look at it, you got the Bucks, who are a formidable opponent. You got the Packers, the Vikings, the Lions, and you
Yeah.
got the Seahawks, and you got the Eagles, Commanders, and yeah, that's pretty much it. You got like seven good teams. If I'm being honest, I don't think the Falcons are better than any of those seven teams I just named.
Mm.
So I would see if they drop the Vikings game, that's no biggie. But if they lose to the Raiders and they take on the Giants,
If they lose to the Raiders and the Giants, then I feel like Penix is just gonna start for the Commanders and the Panthers just to finish off the season. I mean, you're talking about the two where those are the two first teams that are out of playoff contention.
yeah, no,
The Raiders and the Giants.
it's
So if
funny
they
to
take
say that the Panthers are still in it.
it's crazy. I don't know
Everyone
how.
was gunning for Bryce Young to be traded and whatever, and this guy's got them to. Well, they're three. They would have been 3-1 if they beat the Bucks in 4 games, but they're 2-2. So it just shows you like that kid can play. You just got to give him like some time. Good coach, the right coach. and get some belief
I
back.
think a proper offense in general, just surround him with better offensive weapons. I mean, the
I
only
mean,
person
Adam
that they
Thielen
have,
is great. I like Adam Thielen.
Adam, but bro, at the same time, you also having double coverage on Adam Thielen. I mean, they know him from his Minnesota days where he was perfectly good as well for who Kirk Cousins. So I don't I
Exactly.
don't I don't really know. I mean, I feel like he just needs a little bit more help, maybe a stronger offensive line.
Oh,
And
without a doubt, stronger offensive line.
I think the Panthers could try to make a run. I don't see them beating the Falcons or the Buccaneers for that spot though, in my opinion.
Well, I don't see it. I don't see it either. Um. So yeah, I personally think it would be nice to see Penix. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. I don't think the Falcons are going to lose against the Raiders or the Giants or the Panthers. So they would have a shot for the division. And I don't think you make that change with a shot at the division and to make it to the playoffs. And Irvin says the same thing. He doesn't think it's kind of going to be a shot unless they just
Yeah,
shit the bed.
unless they lose to the two worst teams in the NFL right now.
Yeah, and if that's the case, then they just suck.
Yeah, literally, bro.
So, all right. So our last and final segment is going to be for the injury to Mister Christian McCaffrey,
Oof. Really
which
sad to see.
he's already been out for almost the entire year, and now he is out and going to be on the IR with the PCL tear. And if
Yeah.
anybody knows what that is a very hard injury to come back from and be 100%. So I think they are going to put him down for the season.
Yep.
And that is pretty much it. I think just San Francisco sucks because they just have nobody healthy. Brock Purdy's not healthy. Debo Samuel wasn't healthy. Their rookie wide receiver got shot in the beginning of the season. George Kittle has been great.
He's been like, yeah, he's been doing good, but he's always been on day to days only because like
Exactly.
he's a tight end. He's throwing his body out there. Yeah, it's
Exactly. Chris McCaffrey's been out for the
and he
last the
came when he
whole
comes back and then
and
he gets
he
out
gets
again.
injured again. And then they got Brandon Ayuk who tore his ACL or Achilles in the first couple weeks of the
Yeah.
season, so he's out.
Hmm.
Trent Williams is out. Then his daughter actually passed away, his newborn today.
Wow.
Yeah. So not to mention I think it was Debo who had the not Debo. Somebody on the San Francisco had a passing of their newborn. Um,
Um,
and now Trent Williams had it as well. So, not to mention he's injured. Now he's got to deal with that as well. So, hearts and prayers go out to Trent Williams and his family. But,
yeah.
um, but yeah, I think San Francisco's done, man. They're 5-7. They're the bottom of their division. I just think they call it quits, and I think they just hang everything up and they just try to move on and try to move on to next year and see where they get from that. But yeah, the injury to Christian McCaffrey last night was really just the show. Brock Purdy didn't look the same. Again, it was snowing bad in Buffalo, but again, sometimes that's the environment you got to be in when you're playing football. But other than that, Irv, you got anything else to say before we head off to the promised land?
I mean, I honestly wouldn't count the 49ers yet. I mean, their backs in the past years have always been against them. Even with a lot of injuries on their roster. I mean, their upcoming schedule. Right now they're gonna go up against the Bears next, then the
That's a tough one.
Rams, Dolphins, Lions, and Cardinals. I'm,
You could lose every game.
but to be honest, I mean, I'm more.
I might pick an upset. I might pick the Bears. They beat them.
Nah, nah,
I
nah. I
think they
wouldn't
get
pick the
one. I think
Bears.
they get one, man. They should be winning a
Nah,
lot more games.
I just think the way that the Bears have been playing this season. I mean, they obviously had some ups and downs, but did
What
you
was the
know
schedule remaining for San Fran? It's the
uh
Bears,
San Fran, they have the Bears, Rams, Dolphins, Lions, and Cardinals.
Lions. They lose.
Lions they lose. Dolphins is a 50-50 because
Dolphins win. I think they lose. They win, depending where. Yeah, I think
I
Dolphins
think
and
they'll
Vikings,
win. Rams, I think they'll win as well.
they might slip up
It's
against
just
the
tough. I
Bears or
mean,
the
they're
Cardinals.
right now on a 3-game losing streak, but they versed like the team like Seattle, they versed Packers, they versed the Bills. I mean, they versed tough competition.
Bills, Packers killed them. That means,
Mhm.
and they're the top of the top, so that means they're not in that wheelhouse. And then they lost to the Cardinals, or no, the Rams.
Oh, did they lose to the
Who? No, what was the
Cardinals?
3-game losing streak you just said?
Oh, that they lost to the Seahawks, the Packers, and the
Yeah,
Bills.
and the
That
Seahawks is in their division, and they should have won that game. They let Geno Smith run it into the end zone like he was untouched. Um,
yeah. I mean, but you also have the Bears who are going right now into like a 6-game losing
that's
streak.
why I'm gonna pick the Bears to win the
I'm not
freaking
picking the
game.
Bears.
Dude,
Well,
have you seen the way they've lost? They've
I
lost on the
mean,
block.
can you explain when they lost to the Patriots 19-3? They only scored 3 points
Yeah, yeah, but that was like
to
6
the
weeks ago.
brother, but
No, no, no.
that
I'm
still
talking.
matters.
I'm talking about they had the win against the Packers. They had the block field goal. The guy got a finger on it. Didn't look like it moved the football, and it still blocked. That guy's finger had to be like 5 pounds to block the damn field goal. Then against the Vikings, they freaking score 11 points in 30 seconds to tie the game, and then they lose in overtime from some bullshit. And then against Detroit, they freaking fumble the bag inside the 40, down by 3. The coach doesn't call timeout. Not even 24 hours later, that guy gets fired. Like, what the fuck?
Because you want to know something? This dry spell is just gonna continue, bro.
Nah, I think they
It's
get
gonna
going.
continue, and the 49ers are gonna take it, bro. The 49ers are gonna take it. You're
Oh,
telling me that they're competing with top teams and they're
oh my.
losing to the dumbest things. I'm telling you right now, the 49ers are gonna take advantage of that, and they're gonna take that game. That's
All
a
right.
must win for them.
All right. So yeah, they lost. Then they lost to the Commanders on that stupid Hail Mary where it pops up. Then, all right, they get killed against the Cardinals. They get killed against the Patriots. That was retarded. Then they got the blocked field goal. Then they had the overtime game.
Yeah, they
And
never
then
won a game after that Hail Mary. They never won a game. They have never, and the last 2 big wins was against probably the two worst one of the 2 top 5 worst teams in the
yeah,
NFL.
so they beat the Titans week
Jaguars and
1.
Panthers.
They beat they lost to the Texans. They lost to the Colts. Then they beat the Rams. Then they beat the Panthers. Then they beat the Jaguars. They lost to the Commanders on the Hail Mary. They lost to the Cardinals, got killed. They lost to the Patriots. So we're looking at out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 losses. 1, 2, 3, 4 out of those 6 losses they lost on the last play of the fucking game.
Yeah.
That's
So I'm
pretty
telling you,
crazy.
they're not gonna execute. They could
Well,
come back
dude,
all they want to.
have you the last 3 games? How crazy they drove all the way down the field on some crazy bullshit. They kicked the field goal. They got blocked. They scored 11 points in 30 seconds just to lose in overtime on bullshit. Then they lost to the Lions because the coach didn't want to call timeout, and they lost inside the 40-yard line by 3. So their last 3 games, they've lost for a combined points of 7. That is crazy. That is nuts. There's no way. And if you look at the remaining schedule, they verse the Vikings. They're going to get killed. They verse the Lions. They're going to get killed. They verse the
Yeah.
Seahawks. That's going to be a close game, but I think they lose that one. They verse the Packers. They're going to get killed. The only game that they have shot is against the 49ers and the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are better than the 49ers because they're healthier
Yeah.
and
They're
their
definitely
quarterback's
healthy.
healthier. And I think the 49ers got so much shit going on now with Christian McCaffrey and Mason, their backup running back that was good for them when Christian McCaffrey was out. I think they're just going to run into a Bears team that's pissed off, that wants to fucking win, and they're going to get the 49ers. I'm not saying they're going to kill them, but I think the Bears are going to upset the 49ers.
Well, we're just gonna have to see that day. I still got the 49ers only because the pressure has always been on them, like
That's
for
fine,
for a
dude.
good
I'm
five
gonna, like
years.
I said with the Bucks when we bet against each other, and you told me the Bucks weren't gonna score, the Falcons weren't gonna score that many things. Telling you, I'm gonna call you after that fucking game. And if the Bears win on Monday, oh God help you.
That's gonna be one hell of an episode because
Oh, Lordy. Now, if I lose the thing, all right, cool. Well, the 49ers won. But I'm telling you, man, I got a good feeling. I think the Bears got it. I think the Bears got
yeah, well, the schedule for them is not really on their side, as you can tell.
it.
I
Exactly.
mean,
So I think they get one, and I think that's against the 49ers this coming week.
yeah,
All right. So I got 49ers, and I got the Bears, and you
you
got the.
got the Bears, I got the 49ers.
All right, cool. So we settled on that. Just to let you know, guys, Monday on Recap Monday, which would be season 6, episode number 4, Bears will be winning. Lock it in. Let's
No, we got 49ers over here.
all
We'll see
right.
what they say. We'll see
We'll
what they
see.
say.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Got a whole week to wait for that one. But other
Hmm.
than that, guys, that's pretty much it for my show here on the Fire Sports Pod, where everything we got is hot. I'll catch you guys later. I appreciate it. Again, this is Recap Monday, Season 6, Episode number 1 on the Fire Sports Pod. We're powered by StreamYard, where StreamYard gets the StreamYard going. And, guys, I can't believe it's already been 6 seasons here on the Fire Sports Pod. 35 episodes for each of those seasons. I appreciate all the support out there, and let's keep going. I'll catch you guys on Wednesday for Season 6, Episode number 2. Peace out, guys.